they were good enough to say, we know you did it for rhyme or reason, or you wouldn't have done it. But that case, it would have been easier for me to sell and say, I'll cut this 51 back to 31 and we'll still have enough. We got a room for 1,000. CUNA just did that. CUNA built a new high school, and guess what? They added on to it. They built it just exactly what they needed. Didn't have an auditorium, didn't have enough room in their gym, and so they added on to it and spent, you can figure this, the hard fast rule, these guys will give you perfection, but my hard fast rule is at least double, almost double the amount to add on small quantity than it would be to do it originally. And I know that from Caldwell. Caldwell built Sacagawea Elementary School, and we added on to it the next year, and I told Mr. Dede at the time, sure we are a little small? Nope. We added 4 rooms onto it. Those 4 rooms would have been 8 rooms had we put them on to start with. Caldwell High School, same thing. I told Mr. Dede again, I think we ought to build this thing for 4 grades. He said, you know what, Rich, it's going to pass with 3 with that cost. You got to accept it. That guy knew something I didn't know, and here I was an outsider, and I said, okay, guess what? Now they added on to it, got 4 grades. Had a huge expense, and then, as I told one of you guys about, I think it was you, Angie, common facilities, core facilities, those better be planned up front in a building. The libraries, the hallways, the administration areas. If they aren't, and you add on to it, you're gonna have a disproportionate building. That means that, you know, you've added something huge in there, but it's, you know, it's like your car. You go throw a you know, big tires in your car, it may or may not work properly. The speedometer is not going to work. You know, they drag under your fender wells. Same thing on these schools. That happens all the time. I see them adding on to those things, but their hallways are too. Valley View High School is a good example. I call that a dead-end corridor. When we designed that, we had no perception that they have one corridor where 1,500 kids go from one end of the building to the other one and are jammed in that facility. Well, the first thing I said to our architects is, no Valley View corridor like that. Caldwell's is better, but on the same token, it doesn't do what we want done. So you look at those and say, are they adding on? Yeah, they added on to Valley View, and it made it worse. They added on to the far end of that, and the core facilities didn't get changed. The hallway size didn't get moved. So I think, you know, I think it was you, Angie, that mentioned that. Core facilities got to be planned in advance, not just adding on the ends of it. If we're going to add the footprint of that building out, and I think Robin mentioned on hers, her building's at capacity now, but I don't intend to add any more because it would overload what she has. We have a portable out there, which isn't good, but on the same token, they said we can add on the ends of that. Yeah, give me a break. It doesn't work adding on the ends of that because everything else proportionally isn't sized right. So that's a good point. Let's give them the chance, and then we're going to take a break. Give them a chance.
Okay, because I just want to make this. There's a women's room in the trailer next door, and then the men there's a porta potty outside.
What? I like that idea.
Matt, let's hit on change orders, and then
Okay.
Yeah, because our holes just.
Change orders are they come from a number of different sources. There are changes from the building inspector that comes out. He doesn't agree with all the things that were noted on the city reviewed drawings and adds, a horn strobe device or different things. Those things, that's just part of the deal that happens. There are owner directed change orders. We've upgraded the IT or the communications and technology in this building a number of times, which those things, you look ahead, you look at it early on, those changes, it's a minimal cost to make those changes before the building is complete. If you can access it and get the stuff in at the time you're constructing, makes good sense. You look ahead, put those in the project if you have the budget. The other items are, there are gray areas that can get missed, and everybody's a human, so there are areas that come up and okay, you have, I don't know of any on this particular project, but there are areas that you might not have, somebody might not be caulking the hollow metal jambs to the wall, for example, just something simple. I mean, so that's where a change order comes from. A change order is identified through, there's a request for information that's sent, or it's just RFI is what the acronym is. Yeah, actually it's just letters. Request for information. The request for information is sent out with, here's the issue. We like to put here's what we recommend. With that, it goes to the architect looks at it, says, yes, I agree with that, no, we'd like to do this. There is or isn't a cost. We also administer or say there's a cost involved or there's no cost involved, or there's time extension involved or not. It comes back, it is, let's say it's a change, we're gonna increase something on the technological side, on technology. This is gonna add some money, the owner is okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. Something that would be an owner-directed change, not an error or a missed item. So an owner change, they're aware of what they want. We go out, we get it priced, we know what the additional time would be, how it affects the schedule. And the pricing then is, we analyze it, the engineers, the project engineer and architect also review the pricing, make sure everything's in accordance to what it should be. The owner then makes the decision whether they would like to pursue it or not. The change order is then written, the contractor is added, the scope is added, cost and time, or cost, or just change the product, no cost, no time. On the wall behind you over there is an example of what this project schedule is. We detail every contractor, every activity, and we follow that through. Those are updated. That was the baseline schedule that we started the project with. We've updated it every week. That's just a baseline schedule. The end date doesn't change. So we have to arrange and rearrange and schedule and reschedule different activities so that the end date doesn't change, but we're able to change floor covering, for example, if somebody else is going to do something here and there, shift things around. That's a big portion of the change. Go ahead.
I didn't get what the F and I stood for.
Yeah,
I thought the R for the
Our
request.
request for information.
Oh.
Sorry.
How many times are you and the design team or the architects, are you in constant walkthroughs then?
We have
Or do you have like a scheduled
the
time?
what the construction manager, we have on-site personnel, we have superintendent, assistant superintendent, project engineers that are here all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. They send information to the architect. We have architects, we have very responsive architects on this project that spend a tremendous amount of time here.
Mm-hmm.
They're here at least once a week. And if they need to come out and look at something that we ask them to do or that needs their attention, they come right out. So they're here at a minimum once a month, but these folks are here probably once a week,
Yeah.
if not more.
The construction management's contract says that any hour that we have workers here, they're here supervising them. So they open the gates when they come in and lock the gates. These guys do, there are people here when they leave. That is a check and balance that says to me, I'm assured that someone's here, they're being supervised and doing the right things.
Right. And we can go through some of the different on-site steps and procedures that we use to maintain quality and safety, all as and being the eyes and ears of the owner while we're out here. Is there something you'd like to
I
add?
wanted to jump back real quick on an example of a change order or avoiding a change order. Say the site engineer has designed the drain too high in the parking lot, so the parking lot won't drain. We typically catch those things at the time we're putting in the drain itself. So we go back and that's where we send out an RFI to the engineer. This grade ring or this drain looks like it's too high. We recommend lowering it and whatever, to remedy the situation. The engineer will get back with us and say, yes, that's a good idea. At that point, we can talk to the site guy that's installing the parking lot and everybody else and get all that coordinated so that we can drop it down and get it to the right grade before there's any impact to cost.
Right.
Whereas later on, somebody, will intentionally, some general contractors, could go ahead and install it knowing that it's not right, just so they can get a change order to fix it later on down the road. So we try to mitigate that stuff.
Pardon?
It seems that that's kind of maybe part of the industry.
Not typically.
I mean,
Not typically, but when times are tough, like we're in now,
Yeah.
there's a lot of games being played, and you really have to be on your toes to keep ahead of the stuff. There are subs out there that are I don't know, they like to play games.
Some
Yeah.
contractors will go through the drawings and they'll look for areas that
Yeah.
they can find change orders on. And that's when they'll ding you for extra money to build their profit back.
so I was, with Northstar, I was kind of in charge of the data cabling, a lot
Oh,
of electrical, because, I'm the IT guy, so we had to, link up where the projectors were gonna be and the data cables.